Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we're doing something pretty quick here. We're just going to be showing you what I found to be the best way to clean old cartridge, specifically cartridge games. A lot of the backs of especially like Nintendo games, this is not a good example because that's a battery backup one. There we go. Say do not use things like alcohol or other solvents. I have found no reason to really not use it. But alcohol by itself, rubbing alcohol, really doesn't get the job 100% done. Now, what I like to do is take some good old Brasso. And if you're wondering why it's duct tape, it's because it got stabbed. But the thing is about this full still. And instead of letting it just pour out on the floor and wasting the bottle, I just wrapped it up a couple of times and it's alright. So, the thing about Brasso, people say that, oh, it leaves a residue behind. Well, that's where this comes in. This will take that residue off. So while the alcohol doesn't necessarily clean it all the way through, this cleans it, and that cleans off this. So together, it works out pretty good. Now, it doesn't take much of this, and this stuff is nasty, and it dries up. It smells like a cat box. It's really not a pleasant object. Trying to get some of the old dusty stuff off of here. That way we're not putting any of the, yeah. Just gotta get like the first bit, there we go, out of it. Just so we're getting something a bit more clean. It doesn't take very much. Let's see if you can even, if it focuses on it. It just takes the tiniest bits. Like, yeah, you can kind of see it there. Just the tiniest little dab, and this is enough for both sides of the pins. It's going to be impossible for me to really show you what they look like before. I mean, yeah, dark. I think this is one of the worst ones. So I'll show you what it looks like after the fact. So I'm going to coat it. Here is what I'm doing on both sides just to get it on there. And then I'm just going to kind of run it back and forward on it. You can even go the other direction. And, change spots once in a while. That way you're not just rubbing the dirt with more dirt. Alright, so let me see if I can tell. It's hard for even me to see it out here, let alone film this. So yeah, you can see the old dirt, and this is actually not too bad. This set of games isn't incredibly dirty. I've had some that were incredibly dirty, and these turn completely black all the way around. So now that that's been done, I take this and I dip it in here, and I kind of run it along the inside here to squeeze out the extra. You don't want it to be soaking wet. You can even squeeze it with your fingers to get some of it off. And then you just kind of do what you just did, kind of cleaning off any of that residue. Another thing I like to do once that's done, because you don't get too much off really, and then I just like to go in here and just clean out all the extra dust, nastiness that builds up in these old cartridges, especially the ones that have been kept in like attics and all that. You got to be careful about getting, because these have holes in here where the labels are. You got to be careful about hitting those. But yeah, you can see the amount of dirt was around, just in here, not necessarily on the pins, but was in the plastic, which you don't want that in your system. Okay, so this one, it takes about one of these per game. The next one I was going to do, we got Zoda's Revenge, or Star Tropics 2, however you want to call it. I was going to do one on a Nintendo game. It's not that terribly bad. When they're not terribly bad, sometimes what I'll just do is the rubbing alcohol, and I'll show you what it pulls off. It's not a lot. When I first started doing this a long time ago, I used just rubbing alcohol, and then I started using one of those Scotch pads things. That's not a good idea, because yeah, that'll take off all of the dirt and stuff, but that also takes away the contacts themselves. You start wearing them down. Glad I stopped doing that. But the alcohol by itself, which you can see, this is a lot of the dirt that was in there. Cleans it up pretty well. Let's see if we can take some of this black off of the outside with rubbing alcohol. And just kind of working away. Yeah, it's coming off pretty well. Another thing you can use for the outsides, if you don't want to use rubbing alcohol, magic eraser sponges. But just like I said with the inside, be careful around the labels, because they're already very fragile, very close to coming off. Especially Atari stuff. They're always peely, because the glue they used back then wasn't the best. But yeah, this combination seems to work the best. A little bit of Brasso, like I said, tiniest amount. Clean up the Brasso with some rubbing alcohol. Should work out pretty good. In fact, the one that we cleaned was Food Fight. I'm going to change angles here, and we'll test it out. Alright, so here we are at a different angle. Hasn't been but only about 30 seconds. Trying to rearrange. Here's the same Brasso. Got it on here. I got the TV muted just because it doesn't know how to stop the snow sound. I play on the 7800 with a Master System controller, pretty much because it's the easiest way to play. Certain games that need 2 buttons don't always work, but here we are. This is the same game, Food Fight. This is the one I cleaned first, and yeah, you can see it's working out pretty good. I'm probably going to do a whole video on this one at some point. So here's the sound, just to prove that it works out. I grabbed some lettuce. This is an interesting one. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a whole video about this one now, because I can't say I've ever actually played it. But it seems interesting. So I'll see you next time.